For this video, I am going to show you how I made a refillable candy shaker dispenser card. So if you watched my last candy shaker dispenser card video, you'll already know most of this. I did change a few things up. One of the things that I did differently was because of my placement of everything, I did have to move my little opening where the candy comes out to the side a little bit, which changed how I had to put the tape on the back. Alright, for this I am using mostly, I do use one other brand, but I'm using mostly Lawn Fawn products. For all of my stamping and coloring, I did that off screen. I figured this was going to be a long enough video just with the construction of the card base. Alright, so here I'm marking the back differently for where I want to have my foam tape. I'm just doing this to kind of remind myself of where I need it and where I don't need it. Here's my acetate to make my little window. But the little opening for the acetate, I actually just cut that out with an X-Acto knife. I had stamped the little jar from the How You Bean stamp set. Alright, here I'm gluing 2 circles on top of each other. I'm doing this twice. This will be my little wheel on the inside. I just wanted to give it a little bit more stability. Now my handle this time is going to be a little star cookie. So I think I cut 15 or 20 of these. I can't remember. It was a lot. Basically, it's just up to personal preference on how thick you would like your little handle to be. Alright, just showing you. The little colored one will go on top. Now I'm adding the glue around the edges, and I'm going to smooth it out with my finger. I always hate doing this, but it does keep the pieces together better, especially because it will be handled a lot. Now, measuring just a little bit to see roughly how wide the star is so that I can add paper around the edges as another way to keep it together without it coming apart. This is not something you technically have to do, but I like to make it look a little bit more finished. And for this, I usually start the very end piece kind of in the middle of one of the points, not where the 2 points connect. That way it's, I don't know, easier to join and it's smoother, I guess. So again, attaching that just with some liquid glue. This is one of those things that I kind of have to get it close to myself to see what I'm doing, so I kind of got off camera a few times. Sorry for that. You won't see it because, you know, I stopped the camera, but I do let it dry in between the different things that I do. That's why you see me set it down and then I pick it back up later. So after it had mostly dried, I had added my little colored cookie on top. So that's my handle, finished. Moving on to the inside wheel, I am using my little mini M&M to try to help me figure out how big of an opening I need in the wheel. I will put, I think I did 7 layers of this Big Mama foam tape on the wheel, and then I sandwich it together. I'm just leaving that little triangle free of foam tape so the candy goes into it. Now, the amount of foam tape you'll use will depend on the thickness of your foam tape and the size of your candy. I've never done it with any other candy other than mini M&Ms, but I suppose you could do Tic Tacs or, I don't know, maybe even like what in the United States is called Smarties. I know here in the US M&Ms are M&Ms, but I think in other countries they're called Smarties. I'm sure there are several little candies you could do. Alright, now after I have applied the foam tape to all of the spots of the circle that I needed to, I am cutting around it with scissors. You can try to die cut the pieces of foam tape. Lining them up later becomes a little bit tricky, and I just gave up on that. So here I'm just removing the backing, and now I'm sticking that other double layer of circles on the other side, trying to make sure it's pretty even. I don't think it was perfect, but in the end, it's not going to matter too much. It's pretty close. Again, I'm going to cut a thin strip of paper and glue it around the edges of my wheel. So I'm measuring it, trying to get a pretty exact, I mean, it's not exact, but I'm trying to get it as close as possible to the right size so that it doesn't catch on anything inside the card. Now, to get it in the little opening, I tried the pokey tool. I was afraid I was actually going to pierce the paper. So I end up using the handle of an old paintbrush. I guess if you were worried about sanitation of what you're using, you could use maybe some kind of small kitchen utensil or something. I wasn't super concerned about it. Like I stated in the past video, that my child will eat Skittles or whatever candy he finds off the floor. It doesn't matter if it's covered in dust. He doesn't care. So I don't think me using an old paintbrush handle would really deter him from eating every bit of candy in the card. Alright, so that little foam tape circle is the same size as the circle in the front of my card. And that's going to attach the wheel to the handle. And you see, I move on. I'm just using my 8 layers of foam tape now. This is where my pencil marks will come in handy. I now remembered this time not to cover up the little area I planned on putting the stopper. So that's why you'll see that gap there. That will be for my stopper. And I made the lines all the way down from where I want my stopper to the opening of the window. And that was just because I know I don't want foam tape anywhere in there. I also need not to block the wheel, but I also need it to be close enough to the wheel where it's not putting candy where it doesn't belong. So you'll see now I was getting a little ahead of myself, and I cut a piece for the stopper. It fit well, but I forgot I needed to add a handle. Otherwise, you're going to have a really hard time getting it out. Alright, so now I'm attaching my little handle, twisting it, seeing how it works, making sure everything's good. Took the backing paper off all the foam tape, and now I am attaching it to my card base. This was a pretty simple card as far as design. I didn't spend a ton of time working on different design elements. So for my decorating of my card, I probably could have left that out, but I didn't. So for my little whipped cream thing here, it's from the Stitched Cupcake die set from Lawn Fawn. The gingerbread guy comes from the Woodland Critter Huggers Winter add-on die set. The candy cane and the marshmallows that I add later, I stamped using the Jellyfish Lawn Fawn ink, and that was done with the Thanks a Latte stamp set. And then my cookies are from the How You Bean Christmas Cookie add-on. Everything I use will be linked in the description box below, so long as it's not anything that was an exclusive item that is no longer available, which I'm pretty sure I didn't use anything exclusive in this particular card. So here is where I realized that I messed up. So I have all that foam tape and I can't use it for what I intended on. So, whoops. So now I'm cutting out, it'll be 4 layers of foam tape together and 4 layers of foam tape together. And I am taking this red twine from Lawn Fawn, and I'm just looping it to make a little handle. I tuck the ends back in towards the middle, and then I sandwich it between the two, I can't say layers, it's a bunch of layers of foam tape, but the two little sandwiches of foam tape. So now it's in the center, and I can slide that in and out of the little opening. So really easy to fill up. Just dump your M&Ms or whatever candy you got in there. Pop your little plug in there, and that's it. When you want to refill it, you just pull the little stopper out. And here, showing you it works. If I could ever open it. Oh, I should note that the sentiment is using the Archie Jr. Solid ABCs from Simon Says Stamp and CZ Designs. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it useful and you make a card like this and you have an Instagram account, I would love to see your creations, so please tag me in it. My Instagram information will be in the description box below. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in another video soon.